Evening, guys. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm afraid the Thunderhawk is got varnish drying at the moment, so I'm going to try and clear something off the backlog. I've got this Discworld Detritus model. Now, this is a chunk of metal, so it's an absolute pig to build. There was so much green stuff and milliput you would not believe. But he's been sitting on my desk making me feel a little bit embarrassed for a while, so I'm going to work on Detritus today. Amputee is quite excited about that. Hi Dirty Wizard, hi Maverick, hi Ampu. So I'm going to be working my way around this. If you've got any questions, stick them in the chat. But other than that, I'm just going to be painting away. I haven't got a proper plan for this like I normally do, so I'm just going to sort of wing it really and see where it goes. I've got the contrast paints out first. I quite like contrast paints for this, because if you just want to put some colours down and then you can work on it later, they're quite a nice start. So I've just zenithalled it, and now I'm just going to plonk some colour on there. This is not one of my favourite paints, this. It's one of the ones that always ends up with a load of pigment floating around in the bottom. But I just want to get a kind of grey-blue layer down work from. Favourite contrast paint, Living Ghost. Oh, I'm sorry as I'll just slag it off. I'm quite excited about those new paints, especially the single pigment ones. Evening, Andy. I'm just slopping this on. Just want to get a little bit of colour in there, and then I can sort of see what needs doing. Had this model for ages and he's just been sitting here waiting. And because the Thunderhawk needs to, the varnish isn't quite dry, so it needs to sit there for a bit, so I thought I'll work on this guy. So I've got a weird way of painting. Well, I don't know if it's weird, but it's certainly my way of painting. And when I'm doing these kind of figures, I always start at the inside layer. So the skin is always the first thing that I work on. And it's just because if I get a little bit of this paint on, say, the armour, well, I haven't painted the armour yet, so it doesn't matter. So I just sort of start at the inside and work my way out. Absolutely cooking in here today, so it wouldn't surprise me if the camera cut out from just sheer heat loss. Thunderhawk meta when he's finished. It's looking pretty good, but like I say, it's not quite dry enough to do the next layer. I've put a couple of coats of gloss on there, and it just felt a bit tacky. Because the Thunderhawk is here. Woo! And I'm quite pleased with the way it's turning out, but once this gloss is completely not tacky, I'm going to start doing some oils on it. And I want to do a little bit freehand, and that doesn't look good on camera. Hence detritus. I don't even know what I'm going to use this for. I think I just bought it just because he's cool. Sure, it'll get used in some D&D campaign or something. It's a honking great big chunk of metal. I don't really want this contrast paint to pull, and it is so hot and humid. I'm having to work really fast. Are you planning to follow the artwork closely or add some Tony flair to him? Fairly close to the artwork. I love the Paul Kidby art. It's what made me love the model so much. So I'll sort of see where it goes, to be honest. I've not really got any plan. I'm just going to paint him. That makes sense. I normally really think through how I'm going to do things and work out what colours I'm going to use and so on and so forth, but I'm just winging it, really. Doubt I'll get much further than base coats today, but we'll see where we get to. You hadn't realised I'm a disgusting brush licker as well. While that's drying, let's do some stuff on Spar. Snakebite leather. This is a really good paint, this one. You just want to bosh some brown on something. This is a particularly nice one to work with. Nuln oil is the worst paint to accidentally brush lick. I don't know that that's entirely true. If you haven't tasted them, the Scale 75 range of paint is particularly awful. I think it's the medium they use or something. Because I've got some Chimera paints there and they don't taste nearly as bad. And occasionally I've been dumb enough to lick my brush when I'm working with enamels and oils. And that's never turned out well for me. Going to see how far I can get in sort of an hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't want to rush this guy because I really love the model, but at the same time it's quite fun to see how far I can get in an hour or so. I use snakebite leather over gold. Oh, what, to give it a bit more of a rich brown tone? See that working quite nicely. Just realised that I'm pissing about trying to hold this model. I've got a big stack of miniature handles down there. Finish this little bit and I'll grab one out. You have to let me know if you can see what I'm doing all right. Zoom the camera in a bit more or whatever if we need to. Right. Let's put him on a miniature handle because that's getting a little bit annoying. I'll put the big one. It's not going to fit. Of course it doesn't. I can't find it. Oh well, I have to do with that. Oh, I've got a big one here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Up. I use it for gun holsters and pouches. Yeah, me too. If I'm trying to army paint, so work through loads of stuff really quickly, this is great for doing all the little pouches on a Space Marine. I reckon I can taste most brands of paint now. Tell most brands of paint. That went wrong. I can tell most brands of paint now apart just by taste. Alright, the mini handle is not up to Heavy Metal Man. On the plus side, at least I can get in there now. Yeah, oof. It'll be fine. We have the technology, we can rebuild. Don't you remember metal models? How awesomely terrible they were for falling apart on you. Exactly. Hey Reziel. I am working on one of my Discworld models. I've got the Discworld tabletop RPG book, which I really want to play one day, because the rules look awesome. Just slopping brown all over this, and then I'll make a little bit of detail on it later. Just want to try and get a bit of a base colour down. Better in a bit. I just received my Metal and Alchemy gold paints. Bought just the main 4 from Element. Can't wait to use them. Yeah, the golds are some of my favourite. Decayed Metal is one of my all-time favourite paints. It's just such a nice sort of rich brown metallic colour. Just makes it fantastic for starting things off. On side for a minute. Have a look at them. Right. Some more browns. This is quite a nice one. So I quite like contrast paints, but there's a couple of them that I'm not so keen on. So this is one, Ultramarines Blue, and you see all this in the bottom here. This is all the white pigments falling to the bottom of the pot. They're an absolute pig to get them off of it again. So I'm quite excited about those new single pigment contrast paints because they won't do that. There's a few like this Agros Stones, this doesn't do it. Space Wolves Grey is a bit of a pig for doing it. Snakebite doesn't do it. I just don't like those mixed colours because they're just too desaturated. I like my bright colours. Hi Shamak. Reziel, I'm actually still extremely happy with GW's similar versions to Decayed Wartblock Bronze, for example. Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer the finish from the scale colour paints. That's a bit ugly, I don't like that. Go for something a bit darker. Oh, I know what I'm going to use. He says I can't find it. There it is, Cycle Brown. That. I use the Cygor for my text. If I'm painting, oh that's better. If I'm painting text on purity seals and things like that, rather than using black, I like to use Cygor brown because it's dark enough that it can read as black, certainly from a distance. But because it's not, it just blends a little bit better in with the kind of parchment colours. Just looks a little bit more aged. I want this to be a really kind of warm reddish leather colour when I'm finished. Oh yeah, I'm very excited for the Scale 75 Gold. Still a massive fan of Vallejo metals though. Probably never drop them. No, and there's no reason to. Kind of end up with a bit of a mix, I think. So I've got a couple of the Vallejo metal colours that I rather like. The proper metal colour ones, the ones that are in the alcohol-based ones. And I really like the way that they go on, but they're very thin, I find, which means that they're not quite right for every use. Oh, welcome, Robert. Currently painting up Grimaldus. What we all do. I do like Grimaldus. Is that the new one or the old one? Because the old one was pretty cool as well. Something that's going to bug me with this is the model's quite predominantly grey and brown. It's quite a desaturated colour scheme that Paul Kibbe did for the art. And I just want to try and get a little pop of colour in there somewhere, and I'm not sure where it's going to look best. I thought about doing the cape a brighter colour, but the whole point is it's supposed to be a big heavy leather rain cape. We'll see where we go. Maybe I'll do his quiver a different colour to just add a bit of... Oh, it's going to be really boring otherwise. New one, working on the banner bearer. Gorgeous model. Make the cape like the fake red leather. Yeah, that could work. Well, almost maybe go sort of more burgundy with it. Almost finished with the Primaris Tech Marine, just the base to go. That was a wicked model. I really enjoyed painting that. Yeah, that might be fun. Let's maybe go burgundy with it. Stand out from his leather breeches and that. Burgundy, burgundy, burgundy. I haven't got that new contrast paint with it. Did that work? Oh well. Let's mix on it. Let's mix. Terrors. Give me the tone we're looking for. Brezio, I've got to finish this Admech. Are you still working on that commission? I mean, I can't talk. I've got a pile of things for people who need painting myself, but I've sort of put all that on hold while I move house. I'll give these contrast paints a massive shake or they come out a bit glossy. Especially for some reason this red one. Like that. Gosh, though, it's so hot and humid in here. That's gonna become paste really quick. That's just a bit of Flesh Terrors Red and a bit of Agraros Dunes, just to dull it down a touch. Contrast medium. Keep in mind, I'm not a real contrast painter. The customer is cool with it, so it's always good. That's the important thing. Believe me, I can't talk. I'm an absolute bugger for taking way too long to finish a job. I'm not too worried on this about going on to the armoured parts, because going to paint those later on anyway, so I'll be able to tidy up all this. More worried actually with her, because I don't want to have to repaint the base layers in there. Have you ever used metallic medium? Are they the ones that have got the mica flakes in them, so you can turn a regular colour metallic? Or are you talking about like the Vallejo gloss that you mix with it to make it super glossy? Catch you later, Mav. Yeah, it's interesting. Would you talk a little bit about being a commission painter while you're working on this? Yeah, sure. Let me just answer the last little bits. Miguel, the one with the metal flakes in it. I have, and I do like it. But it's got some quite limited use cases. I think if you're trying to get a more like, say you want like metallic red or something like that, I do think that doing something like a Tamiya clear coat over a metallic base gives a more candy finish. The ones with the metallic flakes I think can look a little bit dull, and because you don't have that depth of shades for highlighting as well, it can be quite difficult to get a finish that I'm happy with. It's more of a gimmick. It's like the colour change ones. They can look great, but they are a bit of a gimmick. Robert White. So I've read it right that GW hasn't reimagined their shade paints, but have simply taken half the pigment out. No, they're not. That's not the case at all. They've changed up the recipe for their medium, which means that the medium flows a lot better. If anything, the medium flows a little bit more like contrast. The amount of pigment in them is pretty much the same from what I've seen. They just don't stain the surface as much, which makes them better for using like pin washing and that. But if you're one of the people that likes to put a load of Nuln Oil on it to darken the whole model down, then they won't work quite as well for that. So for most applications, the shades are actually better if you're going to use them like for panel lining and shading, things like that. Just a little bit of a change, to be honest. They're getting used to. So to answer your question, Reziel, what do you want to know really about commission painting? It's something that I've just sort of fell into really, because I like to paint, and I like to paint things that are not necessarily for any of my armies. I started out selling whole painted armies that I'd done and gotten bored with. And then a few people said, well, can you paint my stuff? And I sort of said, yeah, alright. Then I regretted that because I hate painting piles of models that are boring. I'm part of a few local gaming groups, and sort of word got round that I do a bit of commission work. I concentrate mostly on speed painting stuff as well, which is quite nice. So people started getting me to do their D&D things, and I quite like doing D&D characters rather than Warhammer because it's a one-off, and you just sort of quote however much time you're going to spend on it, and then you go nuts really, and you sort of go ham. And because you're only doing one, you haven't got to worry too much about making things look coherent or anything like that. You've rarely got artwork. Sometimes they give me artwork they want me to try and match, but you just have a bit of fun with it. Whereas with army painting, it's a lot more about making sure that you've got what the client wants. I don't generally find that quite as much fun, although I'm a sucker for saying yes to things, especially stupid big resin Forge World models. It's the sort of thing that I'm not going to buy myself, so you don't get many opportunities to paint Titans and silly stuff like that. Look, alright. Right, good to know, thanks. Okay. I have to admit that I do have some of the shades in here, but I rarely use them, to be honest. I quite like thinning contrast paint to use as shades. And I quite like using oils for shades because I just think you've got a bit more control. And the new formula on some of these shades does feel a little bit closer to oils, but it's not the same. Robert White. I like painting too, but 9,000 points of Black Templars is soul destroying. I picked up Be'lakor to break up the tedium and had so much fun painting him. Going to pick up Angron next. Yeah, that's why I stopped doing army commissions generally. With the exception of the odd stupid one. Like, can you paint me this army that consists entirely of Lords of War? This army is just a Titan, or this sort of silliness. I want another coat of that on there. Right, I'm going to have to use some real paints like a proper painter now. So let's work on this wood. I want some sort of fairly lightish brown. That's all the metallics, I don't need those. Work. So, walnut from scale 75. One that I don't use all that often because the coverage is a bit crap. But that being said, the tone is quite nice. Let's see what. So you're saying the sillier the model, the more likely you are to saying yes to painting it. Ho ho ho, evil plans arise. Yeah, absolutely. You've seen some of the stupid shit that I've painted for Newer. Yeah, I'm definitely done with the full army commissions like this AdMech. 5 or 10 models or 1 or 2 larger pieces at a time from now on. Yeah, it's if you're trying to do it for a business, it's a bit different, but I'm not. I'm doing it because I enjoy painting and it gives me a chance to paint things that I want to do. So I don't mind saying no to doing a job. I'd rather say no and enjoy my time than take on something that's just a bit soul destroying. I quite like it when people give me a kill team or something like that and they say, you know, I want this to look good, and then you can try things out. Well, I quite fancy doing an AdMech kill team and really going ham on the trying to combine kind of your oils and grim dark, but with a few real bright colours, a really limited palette, and I think that could look amazing. Do you know, it's so hot here at the moment that my the parchment paper in my wet palette actually dissolved. Couldn't believe it. Bit lazy, but he says, and then he can't remember where I put his dry brushes. Oh, no, there. Let's just dry brush this. I'm similar with taking on jobs. I really want to paint stuff I'll likely never buy. Yeah, it's the same. And it's been wonderful. Mine was also close to breaking up. The sponge took 10 minutes to absorb the water properly. Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? So this is one of those paints that's just a bit annoying. I love the tone. And I love scale colour paints because the finish is ridiculously matte. And if you can't be bothered to varnish your model, like this one, I'm not going to varnish this guy because he is display piece, so I'm not going to ever play with him really, so it doesn't matter. Too much water. It makes sense to me to not have too many tones in this wood. At the same time, I want it to look quite old and bleached. So I think I'm going to build it up quite a bit. Might even go all the way up to sort of a birch colour. I probably will, so use a bit off. This stuff is magic. This is Phthalo Ivory. Hi Dagda. Hi Dirty Wizard. I'm just going to put a little blob of that, and I'm going to mix it with my brown to create a bit of a mid-tone. Just finished adding more dudes to a Crusader squad. Nice. What have you gone for? Have you gone full ham and really sort of like put in the weapon upgrades, or are you playing like me where I refuse to buy any war gear for my dudes? When this is on the model, it's going to be up like this. So I really want to make sure that I've got kind of a bit of a focal point at this corner. I'm going to take this quite far. It might look a little bit ridiculous, but it should be better once the model's done. Time for a bit. The red. What am I painting? I'm painting detritus, so I'm a big Pratchett fan. And I've got all of the watch models, although I've not painted them all. And they've been sitting on my pile of shame for ages, and I thought, well, I can't do the Thunderhawk at the moment because I needs a bit of time. So I'm going to work on something else. And detritus was sitting here looking at me, and I thought, sure, why not? So I don't really want this to do that contrast thing, because I want to get a nice, fairly flat colour. So I'm going to give it a good couple of coats of this mix. So this is the Agros Dunes and Flesh Terror Red. I want to build this in to make it a nice, fairly rich, dull red. But I don't want to desaturate it a little bit, because if you add black to it, you end up desaturating it. And because the model's going to be quite like that anyway, I think this wants to be a bit poppier. Dagda, all chainswords and a couple of fists. Nice. I quite like sticking a fist in there. It does a bit of work. Have two 14-man squads. Bloody hell, 2 flamers because burning heretics to the face. Yeah, I don't know how good they are, but they look cool. Sergeant Detritus. Yeah, absolutely. I find it good to switch painting projects. Yeah, that's why I like doing this sort of thing every now and again. Just a bit of fun. That's not too bad, is it? Go back to the cycle round. Got it? Good. Oh, you quite like that, do you, Tony? Yeah, I like. You know I do. I haven't got the patience to stick with anything for too long. I've got a lot of Blood Angels, but only by dint of having them for a long time, and even they've been sold a couple of times and bought new ones over the years. Because I'll need the money to do another project. I had a fairly large Black Templar army at one point that I sold. The Ultramarines went. Well, I never really liked the Ultramarines. I did them because I was teaching someone to paint, and I thought it was easier at the time if I paint along. I just sort of ended up by default with a Ultramarines army. This is back in about 4th edition, maybe 5th. Hard to tell, they sort of blurred together a bit. It was when they had the starter set that had, actually that was really cool, when it had the Crashed Aquila. And you were killing Tyranids. I've tried a couple of times to get a good Eldar army, but I always get bored. I don't know why I get bored, because on paper they suit me down to the ground. Done Dark Elder a couple of times. This is why I've ended up commission painting, because I just kept selling all my armies. It was easy just to paint somebody else's if all I was interested in doing was the modelling side of it. Battle for McCrag, that was the one. I purchased Dowlarowny Forge World Pearlescent Artist Acrylic Ink White Pearl. Tested it on an old Marine and it's really nice finish. Can use it on my new Sanguinius Priest. I haven't tried that one, but I could see that being quite nice. I've got one really weird paint. Let me see if I can find it. Which is kind of a pearlescent thing. It's this one here. It's this Instar Purple Shift. And it looks kind of white, but it's got a little purple shifty flake in it. Like mother of pearl colour. And it looks incredible. If I can find something to use it on, I'll show you what I mean. Needs a hell of a shaking though. So there's a random Gravis Marine that you can see has been used for a lot of random crap. I don't know how well this will come out on the camera. Might have to focus it. So the idea with this is you're supposed to paint it over white to give it a bit more interest. And it's cool, but I've never found anything that I've really liked it on. It's always been a little bit gimmicky. Splat that on in for a minute and then we'll let that dry. Get some metallics on this guy just to see how it looks. Just tainted my paint water like a fool. Oh, here I was hoping you'd splurge it. No, I'm too much of a pro. So I want to go with a kind of bronzy effect for the big armour plates on this guy. So I'm starting off with scale colour decayed metal. Brush away for a minute. Grab a cheapie. Oh, not that cheap. It's just an old Kalinsky one. My face cam is frozen. Oh, not again. It'll disappear for a minute. Come back in a minute. Said it was hot in here. That's the little GoPro overheating. Works all right in the winter, but when it starts getting hot, it's just ridiculous. They're the Daily Rowney acrylic inks on sale in the range. Usually £30 for a set of 5. Got them for £8. Jesus Christ! What a fantastic deal. Yeah, you really lucked out on that. £8. Only pay that for one of them. £8, that's mental. Can't get over that. Let's see if coverage on this paint is fantastic. I wasn't too worried about being too neat with it earlier. You have to be careful that you don't get brush strokes in it, so we'll do a couple of coats. Put face cam back on. Back on. Yes, there we go. They work really well in an airbrush. Yes, they do. Inks in general are pretty good for that. I said earlier about scale colour being the worst tasting. I didn't even rinse that brush before I just put that in my mouth. I slightly regret that. They're constantly having clearance offers on their paint ranges and brushes at the range. People tend to go in and open paints to test them on their products. So they clear them out when that happens. Oh, that's quite handy. The set that I'm going to buy myself when I move house is the Golden So Flat paints. Because I've used a couple of Golden products before and they've been really good. And that So Flat paints look really nice. Right up my street, really saturated. Really high pigment density, and I quite like thicker paints as well, because if you've got a thin paint you can't thicken it up. If you've got a thick paint you can always thin it down, which is not exactly the most profound observation in the world, but it is important. Why I'm such a fan of the Chimera ones. Have you tried gold leaf yet? I haven't. I really should. I've seen some people get some incredible finishes with it. If I'm honest, I really like my gold recipe. I'll keep playing with it because you never know, you might find something better. But I've got one that I use as kind of a more desaturated green tone that I use for my blood angels. And I've got the really warm gold look that I use for my custodes. And I quite like it. Now I've got my there's a Telemon that I've been working on there, and I like this tone. Quite, oh, there you go, that's better. It's quite strong. Just finished a Telemon. It was fun. Yeah, they're cool kits. I've got a couple of them. Before all the nerfs and the changes and stuff like that, which means I can't run the list anymore, I made a new 2,000 point custodes list, and I bought a few bits for it, which had nothing but Terminators and Dreadnoughts. I just thought it'd be cool. Everything was Terminators, Dreadnoughts. There's no bikes. There was a couple. Actually, there was a couple of those Gravatacs. I quite like those as well. I think they're quite cool. So I've got like 2 Telemons, 2 Achilles, 2 Galatas. Then they stole Obsec off of all of the Terminators and they became really useless. Did it really similar in style to the GW website pics. My friend's army uses green instead of red though. Pretty much Warpstone glow colour. Yeah. Look quite cool. The theme for mine is... I went with Emperor's Chosen, which means that I can just mix and match. So I've got different units from different shield hosts. But the overriding theme is none more gold. Much gold as I can get away with. So before someone says, no, I haven't thinned this, you can get away with not thinning your paints. What you have to do is you sort of put it on the model and then you work it round. So you're sort of working it into the shape of the model so that you don't end up with build up anywhere. Because I don't really use glazes, I don't like them very much. Find that they're a more bold and stronger colour. Bit weird like that. It's the same as I like brushes that are really fat. Not this one, to be honest. Don't want to get any brush strokes in this. Like. I purchased a gold leaf pad to test out on Sanguinary Guard model. It turned out really well. With it being so small, it was a real nightmare to do, especially on my big fat sausage fingers. Yeah, it looks a lot of work. Your model is reminding me of the Bug Rock guy in Neverending Story, wearing clothes, of course. Was it the Rock Eaters, weren't they? That's a film I haven't seen for years. So, is the pearlescent we put on that other model there. And you can't really see it except when the light catches it. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera or not. It just adds a sheen to the model of like purpley shininess. It's coming out or not, I don't know. It's quite a fun paint. I'm just not really sure of the practical applications. Right, let's do some more normal colours. There was a little glint. Yeah, it's not the best thing to try and show on a camera. Try zooming in a bit more, maybe. See that? Really? Just looks white. That's rubbish. Don't buy it. Doesn't work. I find the pearls work well on cloaks. Yeah, I could see that. Now, do I want to go stick with the blue tone or do I go a more neutral grey for his skin tone? I think I might mix something up actually. I'm going to take some Phthalo Blue. Tell you what I'll do, I'll put the wet palette a little bit onto the thing so you can sort of see what I'm doing here. A little bit of this blue. And a little bit of black. This is my current favourite black, this one. It's ultra matte. And we'll take a little bit of white. Likewise, this is my current favourite white. Mix something up. I want it to look too mucky. I want it to be grey rather than light blue. Right. What's the model you're working on? It's a model, it's detritus from Ratchet Stories, and it is produced by... Who's it? Maybe makes this. That's going to annoy me, that. I can't remember. But it's an all-metal model. It's just a character model for like D&D and stuff like that. I probably won't use it for that. I will most likely just use it for fun. But I like the model, so I'm painting it because I want to. Just working a bit of this kind of greenish grey tone to my brush on the model. Add a little bit of interest to it. Hi Steve, welcome to the stream. I have to tidy this up a bit. White in there. Cheers, Doctor. I really want to make sure that this kind of area around the back of his neck and face is quite bright. Look a bit out of place at the moment, but as we finish in and bring in the rest of the parts, what I don't want is the attention being drawn away from the face. I really want to have the brightest highlights. And if you're trying to speed paint, which to be honest I am here, the bits you really want to focus on are the weapons and the face, maybe the chest area, because they're the things that people look at. Now I'm not trying to draw attention to his feet. People aren't going to be looking for his feet. If I was going for like Golden Demon, then sure, you make sure every part is as good as you can, but we're not here. Just want to get this guy looking good. I'm just trying to build up a bit of colour, a bit of interest there. Chin, the brows looking good. Teeth. What's that, a crossbow? Yeah, it's a giant crossbow. Thank you, sir. Figured I'd paint some Sanguinary Guard with you. Oh, wicked. I got an Aliens box set for my birthday off my kids. I've not had a chance to play it yet, but some of the minis are awesome. Mixture of Colonial Marines. Is that the Another Day in the Core? game. Because I think I got that in our first Grots episode. I sort of reviewed it. There's some wicked models. The power loader is super cool. That's looking all right. Gotta run. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Cheers, Rez. Seems it like if you're speed painting, you focus on what you focus on when the pub picking someone up. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of thinking about it. You don't tend to look in the pub at someone's feet. You're looking at their most prominent features. So their whatever weapons they're packing in their face. That's the one, Bud. Got the starter box from Forbidden Planet. Yeah, that's exactly where I got it from as well. Where about you based, Dirty Wizard? Just wondering if it's the same Forbidden Planet. I think some of that silver in there now for the arm. Let's put the proper paint away for a minute. Liverpool. Oh, nice. But you got to check out the feet. The footloose shoelace. You can probably outrun them. It is important to be able to outrun people. That is true. Right. I need something dark for that. Let's give this Dark Star Blue Steel another go. I so far haven't been sold on it because its coverage is shite. But I keep trying to make it work. Liverpool, Dirty Wizard, up north. My local branch is the Cambridge one. That's a little bit closer, well, a little bit further south than Liverpool. So these Dark Star metallics are super shiny, but they use a real metal pigment rather than the mica flakes you get in a lot of metallic paints, which looks pretty cool, but they're really lumpy. They're quite big chunky pigments, and I'm not totally sold on them, to be honest, because, well, partially because their coverage is absolute shite. They're thick as all hell, but then they also don't cover anything. So you have to put loads and loads of layers on. If you're not careful, it becomes very easy to start obscuring details. And I didn't nick it. Well, I didn't want to say anything, Dirty Wizard, but my granddad was from Liverpool and he could take a set of wheels off a car faster than you could blink. I went and bought a Sakaran Venator. Nice. That's the one with the neutron laser, isn't it? Certainly a cool model. I've had my eye on an Amiga for ages. I love that mega plasma cannon on the top. I'm not frozen again. Right. We work on next. Bring up this bronze a little bit. So, what do I want? Yeah, it looks cool. Already have one for the Blood Angels. Just thought it'd look cool in Templar markings. Yeah, I can see that. This is scale old copper. And yes, drink was taken. I bet. Since I've had COVID, I haven't been drinking. I really want a beer though, if I'm honest. Been a few weeks since I last had a beer. Love the whole assault gun aesthetic. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I've heard that's how you get over it faster, is drink. Maybe that's why it's taken me so long to bloody shift it. But Dagda's made up for me anyway, so that's alright then. I'm opening a gaming store next year in Liverpool. Retro Arcade and TT Gaming Cafe for 36 retro arcade machines so far. Pinball machines, enough space on the first floor for 12 tables. That is going to be incredible, Dirty Wizard. I'm a bit of a retro gamer. Admittedly more console than arcade because of space, basically. I've always wanted a House of the Dead machine. One day I'm going to have one. But I've got a lot of ridiculous old consoles up here, so silly stuff like there's my Atari Lynx, which is a bit dusty, I'll admit. Very dusty. Tell I haven't played that for a while. I've got things like the stupid GameCom, which might be the worst console ever made. Don't be a cheeky bugger, AMQ. We will finish it because I'll get in trouble with the wife. In fact, we're going to finish it soon. I'm probably going to do another 5 minutes or so. Because it is a school night and I have to teach kids stuff tomorrow. Because apparently I'm responsible enough. Funnily enough, I was in an auction in North Wales last week and they had the House of the Dead machine that went for £1,800. Oh, that'd be so cool. Andy Illingworth, I love California Games on the Atari Lynx. Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, it is a good one. I'm I love Chips Challenge, actually. If I'm honest, that's my favourite game on the links, is Chips Challenge. Right. Let's go a little bit brighter, but I don't want to go over the top with this because it will look too bright. In fact, I might. No, that's not. Desaturate it a little bit. That could work. Look. Does school have a summer break like in the US? I know, daft question. It's not a daft question, and yes, it does. I break up next week, which I'm quite excited about. But I still have to go in a few days. And I'm moving house, hopefully at the end of this month as well. So it's going to line up about right. This might work. Just mixed a little bit of silver with the copper colour I was using because I didn't want it to go too coppery. I want it to be a slightly more bronzy finish. Right, I'm happy with that. Go back a little bit. I've still got my Atari Spectrum and Amstrad with Double Dragon game. Wicked. I've been looking for an Amiga for years. Because when I was growing up, Amiga was like the thing. It was mind-blowingly good. And there was no way my family could have afforded one as I was a kid. But now I'm a little bit older, I want to see if I can find one. Double Dragon was a favourite of mine too, Dirty Wizard, and mine. But on the NES version, which I've got up there, you could cheese it because you just use the elbow all the time. You just kept repeating that thing and you get through the whole game. In the US, teachers get 3 months. Yeah, I've heard that, but they don't get paid for those 3 months. So they have to go and get another job for a couple of months out of the year. So at least I get paid for mine. Although it is only about a month. Started in June. Jesus Christ. They get paid for the months they're off. Oh, do they? I thought they got. I thought they were only paid pro rata. We get our salary pro rata, but they spread it over the months when we're not in as well. So we get paid flat salary each year spread across 12 months. But it's the equivalent of only being paid for, say, 11 months or so. A little bit more complicated than that. Yeah, sort of where I'm going with it. What we do get, though, is a very good pension, which is one of the main reasons to go into education, to be honest. They can choose to have their pay spread over the months. It's averaged out over the year. Yeah, so it's similar then. Then again, they have to supply so much stuff for their classes. Yeah, we have to buy everything. I have to buy my own board pens and crap like that. Have to get all my machines put on tokens to operate, as Liverpool City Council wanted 30,000 whoa for a gambling machine license if the machines are coin operated. So making it so tokens are redeemed with your purchases. That's bonkers, Dirty Wizard. Because I take it these are proper arcade machines, not fruit machines. Ridiculous, because you can't win any money out of an arcade machine. Can't just stick them on free play and then charge people for time rather than coins or whatever. Yes, it's because you're putting money into a machine. It falls out. That's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. I think some of the gambling regulations are a bit dodgy. Loot boxes are gambling, but to say that I don't know you want to play Metal Slug and that's gambling, that's just mental. You put coins in vending machines, you're gambling with your diabetes then. Yeah. I've seen how many sweets you eat, Shamak. Yeah, you are. Any quick thoughts on the Space Hulk Kill Team teaser? Looks cool to me. I like the idea of building a bigger scale version of the original game. Unfortunately, Andy, they've properly announced that now, and it's not Space Hulk. It is Voidsman versus Groot. I'd love a proper Space Hulk though. I'd be super excited. They'll do anything to make a buck out of you. Yeah, they will. Mad Ted, yeah. How are you going to paint the diamond teethies? I don't know. I'm probably, potentially, going to try out that weird pearlescent paint that I've got. So paint them some sort of like really light grey. Highlight them and then use that pearlescent paint. But I've actually, thinking about it, I've got this weird sparkly paint, which just makes whatever I paint it on go sparkly. So I might give that a go, see how that looks. I mean, oh, sorry. I'm more mean using the scenery and building my own version. That'd be wicked cool. I've always wanted to build a full-on Space Hulk board to play Kill Team in. Just build the interior of a ship. Even for things like RPGs and stuff. That'd be wicked. It's bollocks. Gotta have Terminators. Yeah. It's not Space Hulk. It's... And I really don't like those new Voidsman models. They look like they've got bins on their head. Last night we were filming, for a bit of a spoiler, a video for the BAC channel. And we were talking about them. And John was saying, am I going to make it like a quick video talking about it? I was like, no. Because they're so ugly. All it'll be is 5 minutes of me ranting about why they've got bins on their heads. Blood Angel Terminators, yeah, exactly, definitely. What's your take on the new Dark Side game? I like it. I think it will be fun, but I'm wildly antisocial, so I'm hoping it's alright single player. Although, if it's not, and we do pick it up, it could be a laugh to play with John and Mark for a stream one day. Let's brighten up that chainmail a bit. Getting there. Getting there. Right, guys, I'm going to have to end the stream in a moment. So if you've got any last sort of questions and that, stick them in the chat. And I'll try and answer them while I clean my dirty dry brush. And my texture palette, actually. Dirty Wizard, I'll get on and have a game. Yeah, I'd love to play a game with you, Dirty Wizard. When you've opened your store, let me know and I'll see if I can do a road trip up there. That'd be wicked. Nice to see what scenery comes with it. Much prefer gaming mats to cardboard. Yeah, absolutely. He's looking a beaut. Great work so far. Cheers, AM. I'll try and finish him off on the next stream. Also, very pleasing to see this model finally get some care and love. Yeah. I'll be happy when he's done. Kawas, long time lurker here. It was a fun stream. Always enjoy these painting streams. Oh, thanks for that. Cheers. Great to hear. Steve West, glad I caught a live one with the Grot who got the most fosage. Yeah. That's a matter of contention, that one. Cheers, Shamak. Yes, mate, you'll be welcome anytime. Brilliant. I genuinely would love to come up there. That's right up my street. I probably spend as much time retro gaming as I do warhammering. I'll love Liverpool. I'm not sure about that. I'll definitely come check out the store too. Oh, there you go. Look, Andy's going to come and join us as well. We'll do a meet up there. When you've got your gaming store up, we'll see if we can do a Grots meet up. Might be easy to get John down there as well. Not that I've asked him about it. Getting quite a big 40k community in the pool. Really? Not huge down here, unfortunately. Right, guys. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be doing it more or less every Tuesday is the plan. Although, like I say, I'm moving in a couple of weeks, so it might disrupt things a touch. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. And see you next week. Or see you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye, everybody.